Welcome to Out of Court and Out of Conflict, your guide to estate law and probate solutions. Presented by Wasinger Law Office. Join us as we unravel legal complexities and secure your family's legacy.
Hello and welcome. We are continuing our conversation about estate planning. With us is estate planning lawyer Matt Wassinger with Wasinger Law Office, located in Orlando, Florida. Matt, it's always a pleasure.
Great to see you.
Estate planning is something that people generally put off until they are older, but from your perspective, why do younger families need to make this a priority?
Well, first and foremost, if they've got kids, the ability to nominate guardians, and for both permanently who's going to raise your kids if something happens to you, and temporary guardians for people close by to stay with your kids until your permanent guardians can come. That's one of the biggest things that young parents don't realize, especially. But even if not that, the cost and in terms of time and money that going through probate brings is problematic for anybody who's got someone that they're leaving behind, because they are going to spend lots of money and lots of time going through the probate process just for everything needing to go to even one person. And we just all assume when we're young that we don't need to do this until later. We've got plenty of time. But normally when something happens, that's when obviously it's too late. And if you've got any assets that you want to go to someone specific, or you have any assets that could take time or some expense going through probate, that's exactly what estate planning is for. And it's for anyone of any age. And that's why we also even try to impart on our clients that once their kids turn 18, getting their medical and financial power of attorneys, and sometimes even a simple will in place, is crucial. Because even if they're just going to college and the parents are still paying all the bills, they can't access their bank accounts, they can't access their medical records and are not supposed to be able to make medical decisions on their behalf without those documents in place. And it can create problems. Specifically, kids that travel. Spring break is something we've dealt with our clients' kids traveling. They get in trouble. And they call and they say, we'll handle this. And they can't handle some of the things they need to handle because they don't have the necessary documentation to get it for them.
When it comes to putting something in trust or creating a trust, it's not necessarily about money, correct?
Correct. And that's why we try to focus on what people's goals are. Sometimes if you've got less actual assets than other people, your family has less of the ability to take time to go through probate and the cost that comes with it. They need access to those funds earlier, quicker, and less taken out of it. So trust, any attorney that says you need X number of dollars to have a trust or to start thinking about a trust isn't paying attention. The goals that you have for your family, whether that's you make sure there's guardrails in place of how your kids get money and what ages and stages of their life they do, or just making sure that your family's got easy access to all the assets you may have and they may need. You need a trust to be able to make sure you can avoid probate and get access to those things as you need it.
I'm sure there are some listeners saying, but hey, I have a will, so I'm protected. What do they need to know?
Where there's a will, there's a probate. A will is not going to prevent probate. Actually, a will is guaranteeing probate on its own. And the other thing is that judges don't necessarily have to follow the will. They're guided to follow it as much as possible. But the circumstances of who shows up at your probate, whether that's creditors, whether that's unscrupulous individuals, if I said that, I mumble mouth that part, they're going to dictate how the judge sees everything. And sometimes, more specifically, someone might have a will, they do a DIY will, but they don't have their guardian's name properly. And by properly meaning, have they named a couple? What happens if that couple divorces? Who gets the kids at that point? Is it just the wife? Is it just the husband? Or should it go to another group? If those aren't named and properly laid out, the judge has to do what's in the best interest of the child at that point. And sometimes on paper, some people look like the best choice when in reality, the parents may have never chosen those people because of a million different reasons. But they had someone more specific in mind that they thought was going to go that way, but it just couldn't happen because they didn't have the necessary documents done properly to cover those bases.
What's at stake, especially with people with children or somebody with a business, if they don't have a proper estate plan in place when they die?
Well, the business can go a whole bunch of different ways. They can end up in long, bitter disputes with other business partners if they're outside, if it's not just a family-held business. There's the long process of trying to transfer stock, even if it is a family-owned business. And more specifically with their kids, they're running into problems with money being spent the way it's supposed to on the kids, because ultimately, if they're minors, that money's going to the guardians if a trust hasn't been set up. And you just got to hope that guardians are doing what they're supposed to do with that money. Once those kids turn 18, that money is going to them directly, outright, no restrictions. So you got to also hope that your kids have a good head about themselves once that happens, and don't do anything too rash with that money right away, or it's up in the air for creditors and or friends and everybody else that can get in those people's ears at that point in time.
You not only have professional experience in this area, but personal experience. Can you share your story?
When I was growing up, my dad and his siblings were in a long, drawn-out probate fight. They were all in their 30s, 40s, all financially okay where they were, and our grandparents sat them down and said, who wants what? And they split it all up. But my grandparents never put those decisions in an actual estate plan. And once my grandparents passed, much as we talked about in previous episodes, one of the siblings changed their mind about how things were going to go. And then it became a fight that went on for a couple of years. And I was just old enough to remember and live through it. And ultimately, everyone ended up okay. But it was a rift in our family for a very, very long time. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't quick. I mean, it took a long time, and it was a lot of stress on my parents, who were, I was the oldest of 4 kids with a young family and their livelihood at stake.
How did that experience shape how you wanted to practice law?
Well, it made me realize how important estate planning was. And a lot of times people are coming to attorneys when they have a problem, right? It's all reactionary more than anything. And I always felt like that if you can offer something to people that they can see the value of up front, then they tend to be happier about going to an attorney. No one likes paying for attorneys, right? But you've got something in place that you can get some peace of mind when you walk out. That's what I wanted to do, and that's how we've kind of framed our practice around having the free 3-year review after 3 years to keep people coming back to the 3 meetings, to making sure that their assets are not only titled the right way, but are going, are set up in a way that the estate plan you paid for works. And more importantly, we want to be your family attorney. We want it to feel like a family office. We're a family firm. And one of the other ways we do that is we have a family legacy interview at that 3rd meeting, where you're able to leave a video for your loved ones, whether that's your spouse and your kids, or just your friends and anybody else that you want to. So they have an opportunity to see and hear you, because one of the first things that happens when people pass, they start calling around looking for videos, voicemails, things like that. And so we've set it up so you can leave a video for them. And sometimes people come back and redo them all the time, or they want to update them. And we love that, because that is something that they'll always be able to have. There's pictures out there, and there might be some voicemails, but it's very rare to be able to see and hear someone that's passed talking directly to you.
Yes. What's the approximate cost of getting a proper estate plan in place?
Well, we do everything flat fee, agreed to in advance, and they're all in packages. So our range is anywhere from $2,500 for will plans for single people up to $10,000. And that's with much more extensive estate planning for higher end trusts. But the average, if you're getting a trust, is typically in the $4,500 to $5,500 range. And that includes your will, your trust, your medical directives, your financial power of attorney, your kid's protection plan if you need it. We do your house deed as well, included in that. And we include all the little extras that come with it all in one price. We never get a surprise bill from us. And the reason there's a range is because when you come in, we're going to ask you questions that are going to change how your estate plan's built. And we're very upfront about it. When you ask us a question, this is a $1,000 question here. If you choose X, it's going to cost an extra $1,000, and here's why. If you don't, you're not going to spend that much money, and here's why. And we do that because we're not trying to push anyone into one specific estate plan. We'll recommend things based on the goals that you've outlined in your assets and what you've told us during that initial meeting. But ultimately, it's a choose your own plan, and we're there to educate you to get to the plan that best fits your family and the intersection of your goals and your assets and honestly what you're trying to accomplish.
The ultimate goal is to protect your loved ones and your legacy.
Right. Out of court and out of conflict.
You had mentioned in previous podcast episodes that it's important to get your estate plan reviewed every 3 years. Remind us why that's so important.
In most cases, your life has changed in some way, shape, or form in 3 years, right? And then on top of it, your family may have changed. Your assets have typically changed in some way. Or your goals have changed. And remember, our firm's very goal-oriented. We're focused more on your goals than we're worried about the amount of assets that you have. And that's because we want to have an estate plan that fits your family. But if on top of all of that, what changes constantly is the law. So if your goals have changed, but the law has changed in such a way that your estate plan doesn't work anymore, we want to update that. So we bring back everyone in 3 years, and sometimes we do that, and everyone says everything is exactly the same, and we leave it and say, okay, great. We'll check back in if something changes or you need something. Or because banks and hospitals tend to do whatever they want, sometimes we'll just reprint our powers of attorney for them to re-execute just so they don't treat them as stale, which shouldn't happen, isn't legally supposed to happen, but as I said, banks and hospitals tend to do whatever they want to do. So we do those types of things. And that's one of the focuses of bringing our clients back, is making sure that estate plan works no matter what. And by doing that, the only way to do that is to follow up and see what's different, what's going on, and what we can change, if anything, at that point. Once
you're all done and everything's in place, what kind of relief are your clients feeling?
Most of the time, this is why I like estate planning sometimes more than a lot of other areas of law, is they're thankful, right? Because most of the time, no one wants to pay an attorney, but at the end, they feel like, okay, I've gotten something big that maybe they didn't even think they were worried about in the back of their mind as much as they were. Once you go through the process, you realize, okay, that's done, that's handled, and it's relief, it's thankfulness, and generally happy, which you can't always say when people are dealing with attorneys, right? They're not always necessarily happy that they're dealing with attorneys. So that's the general feel at the end of this process.
What is the best way for listeners to connect with you?
The easiest way is our website at wasingerlawoffice.com. We have the ability to schedule calls, schedule a family wealth planning session, and or just pick up the one-click dial to get in touch with us to do all that there. And on top of that, our website has all of our blog posts and media that we do, so they can look through, listen through, and get more information as they need to.
Great. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you.
Matt Wassinger is an estate planning attorney with Wasinger Law Office based in Orlando, Florida. Please remember to like and subscribe.
Thanks for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos like this one. And be sure to follow us on social media.